Hey guys, welcome to the Challenge Podcast. I'm Coach Steve.
And I'm Coach Nick, and we're going to be talking about everything fitness, health, and the challenge.
Let's get on with the show.
What's up guys, Coach Steve here, and welcome back to another episode of the Challenge Weekly Show. Today we're joined with our co-host, Coach Nick. Nick, how are you doing today?
I'm really good, thanks, Coach Steve. How are you?
I'm well. Nick, first up, I'd like to say, one, go the Cats.
I know. I agree.
Now, I don't know about you, Nick, but I'm not that much of a diehard footy fan.
I think we're the same, you and I.
Yeah. I do enjoy the athleticism in AFL, so don't get me wrong. I enjoy the athleticism in NRL and rugby a little bit more, but that's each to their own. But it was an exciting time over the weekend, and I think for me, I don't really follow a footy team, but my first game I ever went to, I would have been maybe 6 or 7, and I went with my grandpa. I call him Orpa because he's from Germany. So I went with my Orpa, and we watched Geelong versus Collingwood, and Geelong won when I was a little kid. So I thought, well, yeah, I'm going for Geelong, and they are now the premiers. So woo, go Cats.
That's really good. I've got a similar story. My grandparents were actually from Geelong, so they were diehard Cats fans, and my nana had a membership at the Cardinia Park and used to go down and see the players, and she was, an oldie that they used to love. And all the players used to just be living around where they lived and stuff. So it was kind of in our blood.
Yeah.
But who do you look like, Coach Steve? Who do you look like?
I've been told I look like Christian Petrarca, is it?
That's correct.
Yeah, from Melbourne. One of the directors at Amino Active, who looks after the Maxine supplement side of things, thinks I look like Christian Petrarca. So if you think I look like that, all right, but I'm not too sure who he is. I'll take it. Well, that's why maybe I'm not been as active on social media, because I'm too busy, running around playing footy, right?
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly why you've been running around playing. But shouldn't your media managers be doing that for you?
I know they should. They should be organising that. Come on, I gotta get onto their backs. All those managers getting me in track. Yeah. I'm actually really anxious about teaching my son footy. I haven't really held a footy in a while, like a handball on the thing, kicking the thing. I gotta be like competent Coach Steve the dad, right? So I gotta pick up my footy game.
Yeah, well, you know what I think about footy players also? It's quite interesting because they're very athletic. They're muscular, but they're not excessively muscular because they have to run around. So it's just sort of that awesome balance between everything, because they've got to be very cardio fit as well as they've got to be strong and especially just that full body conditioning. So
that's right. Yeah.
Very athletic.
Definitely. But maybe footy isn't the first sport I'll get my boys into. Maybe weightlifting, of course, number one. Maybe bodybuilding, number two, as a sport, right? And then maybe something like real football. Come on, I get them into the EPL or something.
Oh my gosh, are you me today? Because that's like my dad. Yeah, is exactly that. That's all about the soccer. So you got to do that.
But look, Nick. Point number 2 is comp prep. Nick, when is your comp? This weekend?
Well, the first one is this weekend, and then the second one is the weekend after that. And then there's about maybe 4 weeks in between all of that. So then I can sort of take the feedback and do it a little bit with it over that time. Yes. So my brain isn't the best. Like at the best of times, it's not necessarily on fire all the time, but we'll see what happens in this podcast. It's going to be a wild ride.
It will be because, Nick, it is an exciting time of the challenge. Like always, it is the final week of the first ever M Challenge, week 12. Gosh, we made it. It's towards the end. Now, it's always an exciting time because we've been working hard for the past 11 weeks. We've got one more week, 12 weeks. So we've still got time, right? Well, 1 week. But, in terms of time, like, it's not a lot that can happen in a week in terms of, like, significant body transformation, but within a week, a lot can happen with our physique, both for the good and the bad. Okay, so let's talk about the final photos here. Often we have individuals reaching out to us, let it be on the forum, social medias, Facebook groups, emails, those types of things, being like, what can I do to get the most out of the final week? And maybe that is grounded in the kind of bodybuilding world where individuals will go through, water cuts or, manipulating their salt and their carbohydrate and their training and all these other variables to try to get into peak condition. Okay. First thing I want to say about peak week and peak conditioning is, one, it takes a lot of trial and error and practice. Okay. So if you get into week 11 or the final week, week 12, and you're like, I'm going to do a peak week, and you've never done one before, you have no idea what I'm talking about, just skip this part of the podcast, and no need to think about this idea, okay? Because you would probably have wanted to practice this in the past, and find out what strategy works best for you. So, Coach Nick, you've done quite a few competitions yourself, and you would have your own kind of system of peak week, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you go through a peak week?
Yes, that is currently what I am doing. I do, but it's not because we don't have to be as lean as, say, you guys. It's not as excessive, it's not that bad, but it involves sort of a little bit of depletion and then refilling the muscles, and there's nothing much else exciting other than just making sure that the sodium is measured and then managed, and water intake is kept up. So there's nothing for me such as dehydration or anything like that. I don't know what goes on with the guys or with other things, but mine's not that exciting, but there is a protocol, and it's kind of cool because it involves a little bit of backing off everything as well. So just to let your body reduce the stress and the inflammation from training, and even the mental stress. So once you get there, it's kind of cool because you get to get your hair done, your nails done, and just sit a little bit more, which is nice.
Yeah. So I think there's two ways we can approach peak week or the final week. Number one, we can go through a structured protocol, maybe like you've experienced in the past. The main principles, I think, in a nutshell, is that, one, we're trying to increase as much glycogen stores in our muscles, making our muscles look as big as they can. So for that, we need, of course, to increase our carbohydrate intake and increase our water intake, okay, to make our muscles fuller, right? Then on the flip side, we want to decrease how much subcutaneous fluid we retain. So subcutaneous, under the skin, subcutaneous. So we want to decrease as much of that as we can. And then factors that contribute to subcutaneous fluid are, one, our hydration levels. So it's a little bit of this weird catch-22. We want to hydrate our muscles, but then not hydrate our subcutaneous tissue. Tricky, which is often why we go through this kind of depletion phase of carbohydrate, a refeed phase, or like a maxing out phase, whatever word you want to call it. Try to get what's called a super compensation effect, where you eat more and it kind of super compensates the glycogen stores by small percentages, right? These are small differences. And then trying to draw the fluid out of the subcutaneous area, which is tricky, skeptical. Does it actually happen? I don't know. Other factors that contribute to that subcutaneous water retention, like you suggested, one would be our stress level, right? If you're stressed, poor sleep, those types of things, it can lead to that like fluid under the skin. Two would be, of course, sodium intake. The more salt you consume, the more fluid can be retained in that subcutaneous skin, of course. And then there's other factors such as like, some people will try to sweat out those areas. So, some metabolites might be under the skin there, so try to sweat it out, right? So these are some primary principles we're trying to do. We're trying to increase our glycogen stores in our muscles and decrease the water being held in our subcutaneous skin. Now, that is the primary strategy. What is the best protocol to achieve those things? We don't know the answer. If you spoke to 100 different bodybuilders and competing athletes, they'll give you 100 different answers. We have a very rough kind of idea that you can follow. And I've actually written an article about this, and you can find it in the Learn section called Peak Week Strategies if you'd like to learn a little bit more. But again, here's the but. Probably not wise to try it now because you will need to be trialing it, and a lot can happen in a week in terms of improving or not improving, decreasing, your physique, right? So if you start to manipulate variables, you can't be confident that you're going to rock up in the final weekend where you take your photos and look in the best shape. So two pathways. One, try peak week, risky. The risk reward ratio might not be in there. Or option two is to just keep doing what you're doing. you know, and you can be confident how you look like, because it's going to be how you look like right now. So just keep on track with what you're training, with your nutrition. You can be confident rolling into this weekend to take your final photo and be like, yep, I know exactly what I'm going to look like. There's no running the risk of, waking up puffy or flat or dry or any other like weird and wacky word you might see, plus all the extra stress of trying to manipulate all these variables. Roll in, get a great result, and do that. And that is an option, a strategy that some bodybuilders do, is they just train and diet all the way up to the competition and go, and they don't actually formally go through a peak week. So they're two options for you. So don't feel pressure that you need to dehydrate or starve yourself or cut out carbs or sit in the sauna for 12 hours or any other weird and wacky thing you might see online, because ultimately it's risky and it can be dangerous.
Yeah, 100%. And I've done, before I knew what my body actually responded to, I've done stuff where I've ended up looking worse, just because it's been fiddled with too much. So for me, like, I love routine so much that it's not going to change suddenly just because it's peak week, that I'm going to stop loving routine and want to do all this fancy other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's not for me. That'd stress me out more.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And even just like measuring it, right? Like going through peak week and trying to manipulate these variables to try to measure it, and you're eyeballing yourself in the mirror being like, is it working? I don't know. And you're stressing out. That extra stress adds an extra variable that you need to manage, right? So if you were going to do it yourself, you need to be like very stoic and not stress out about it, or you'd have to like hire a coach to try to do it for you, and you just got to trust this person to try to like tell you what to eat and whatever, so that you, oh man, it's a big stress ball that you probably don't need in the final week. And that extra stress could be the reason why you wake up to take your photos and you're a little bit puffy or whatever you want to call it.
Definitely. So yeah, you guys are lucky with yours in terms of you can take photos at any time once you've got the completion document. This is the challenges I'm saying, not you and Frankie sitting there, your doggy. Yeah, so you challengers are lucky because you can actually have a few goes at it and try just different positions in the house, different times of day. Even that sort of stuff is enough to get a good picture. You don't need to be getting out the rock salt and grinding it on things and that sort of stuff. I think you'll find that you'll get your good photos if you just chill out about it and do that thing that I like to tell you to do, which is take a video and take a screenshot from there, because that's really good. Then you don't have to stress about 3, 2, 1 snap. Yeah,
that's so good. Nick, the registrations for the next challenge are now open.
I know, how exciting. Who's going to be the first person to sign up? I'm excited.
Well, probably a whole bunch of people already. It's been really good. So registrations for the next challenge have opened up already. So the M6, the first ever 6-week M challenge registrations now open. The next challenge starts on the 24th of October, and prep week starts the week prior, 17th of October. So you'll have access to your training plan, nutrition plans from October the 17th. And if you sign up today, you can actually get into the app right now, and you can join in our steps leaderboard. You can ask us questions on the forum. Nick and I will be able to answer any questions that you may have. And you can, of course, indulge in a lot of the learn section where you can learn about training, nutrition, and really start to build up the environment so that you can really smash the M6. Okay. Now, the return challenges. So if you did the July challenge, this first challenge, and you want to join the next challenge, it's going to be $59. $59 for 6-week challenge. So $10 a week, plus you get prep week, so 7 weeks, plus a few weeks after, a few weeks before. So it could end up being close to like $5 a week for any questions answered from myself or Coach Nick, plus all the other features on the app. So I think it's a really great value for any return challenger.
That's crazy, really. To be honest, that's one coffee.
Insane. Plus any new challenges, you can sign up today as well, and you'll get the challenge for $89. Amazing price. You will get access to the 6-week challenge just like any new challenge. So $89 over 6 weeks, maybe like $12 a week, doesn't break the bank. That's amazing.
Yeah, really good. And in time for the Christmas New Year period, which is one of the peak periods where you want to feel and look great. So I like this challenge. I always like the end of year one because there's a real purpose to it, even though everyone has a purpose. But this one here is like for the for the beach, to feel good, to have that summer vibe going on.
Yeah, so good. So especially something to work towards, that like little prize at the end. Talking about prizes, of course, we have prizes for our 6-week challenge. We have a male and female winner. Both winners will receive $2,000 cash, $2,000. So if you are a return challenger, $60, you potentially win $2,000. Look at that ROI. Take that stock market and cryptocurrencies. Our first runner-up, our second place finalist, will take home $500, and third place finalist $250. So big money here for the 6-week challenge. Plus, our top 10 finalists will receive a merchandise pack plus a supplements pack to the value of about $500. Real good. Plus, we've got a whole bunch of other prizes to give out as well for M6. So if you want to join, maybe not for the training plan, nutrition plan, do your own thing, no dramas, you can join in for the M Challenge competition. You just need to follow our guidelines and submit a start photo holding the entry document and an end photo holding the completion document for M6. It's going to be great. It's going to be exciting, Nick. I'm of course really excited because I'm speaking really fast.
I know, but I'm listening and I'm loving it, and I feel so excited as well. I love the 6-week ones. They've got a different vibe to the, I keep saying vibe, to the 12-week ones. And yeah, we're raring to go. We are raring to go for this one.
Now, Nick, we may not have been as active as we have been in the past on social medias, such as like Facebook and Instagram, because we've been working hard, Nick. We've been working hard with our developers to improve the M Challenge app. Okay. So first thing I want to say is that we have been listening to you, our challengers. We read all the emails that come through our support emails, all the feedback we get on social medias and on the forum, and really listening to what features you want to see on the M Challenge app. So we're excited that we have a range of features in the pipeline over the next 6 to 12 months. And the first feature that we have phase 1 of is the ability to add food to the M Challenge food database. Okay, most requested feature, which is to add your own food to the M Challenge database. And we've got phase 1 where Coach Nick and I have the powers to add food to the database very freely, very quickly, which is really nice back-end type support thing that got given to us. So if you would like any food added to the M Challenge food database, you can email us at support@mchallenge.com.au and we can quickly add that to the M Challenge database. And we're close to, I think it's about 500 food items at the moment, Nick, on the database, and that's growing every week. So Nick and I go through the Coles and Woolworths and Aldi catalogs and see what's on special, adding those products into the M Challenge database, so you can enjoy any food that you want, and it's going to be portioned out via our algorithm. So you input what your goal is, your metrics, and the M Challenge app will customize a plan for you that is based around the foods that you like to eat. So it's all about portion control, it's all about calories, and you can enjoy whatever foods you like to enjoy and get into great shape, which is just a win, Nick. It's an absolute win.
Absolutely. And yeah, you can just send us your requests and we'll pop them in there. And because I mean, I've put everything in that I eat, so I'm out of ideas.
So you're set, Nick.
I'm good. If I got my kids to do it, it would be a different menu.
Yeah.
So just feel free to.
So this is just the first phase. You know, as we get ready for the next phase, which will come into 2023, we'll have a feature where you can click a button and add your own food to the M Challenge app. That will then be verified by Coach Nick or myself, just to make sure that those numbers are correct, how you input them on a label or wherever you are, and then that will be featured on the M Challenge app. So there'll be this really cool feature that's coming soon, but of course lots of behind the scenes stuff to get those features out to you. So that's the first little feature that we want to announce. The second one, Nick, is around training. Okay. Now, the most requested 1 and 2 features for training are, number 1 is training videos. People want to see us describing and how to do each exercise. So for M6, we will have training videos for almost every exercise on the M Challenge app. So there might be 1 or 2 exercises we haven't recorded yet. So if you find one that isn't recorded yet, please let us know, or maybe we just haven't uploaded it yet, but it'll be there. But you will find a video of how to do every exercise on the M Challenge app, which will be really cool. Really excited to announce that one there. And you'll be able to view that before you start your workout and while you're doing the workout. Okay, before you do it and afterwards. Now, Nick, when we were recording these videos, we had this discussion, and I want to put it out there to the challenger world. I didn't know if we wanted to do like short videos, like 30 seconds, bang bang, here's how you do a bicep curl. longer videos, like 5 minutes of like, hey, this is how you do a bicep curl. This is how you hold the dumbbell. This is maybe the rotation element of it, blah, 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 or somewhere in between, like 1 or 2 minutes, like explaining the key points. So we ended up going with this kind of like shorter spectrum where people are in the gym training. You don't want to be watching a 5-minute video or 10-minute video of me explaining like how to do a chin up, right? You just want to see how it moves and you do the chin up. So this is going out to the challenge world. If you prefer one or the other, if you prefer short videos versus long videos or medium videos, let us know, right? Because we want to make content that you are interested in. So if you want to see longer videos on how to do exercise or prefer shorter, faster videos, let us know. And we'll definitely work on improving those videos on the M Challenge database.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Next and final feature, Nick, training most requested feature is to view training history. So individuals want to review training history, which is fair enough. And you can view training history within the M Challenge app at the moment, but you can only do it prior to your workouts. Once you start the workout, you can't view your previous workouts or history with certain exercises. So now we have that all featured within the workout. So while you're training, if you are 3 exercises in and you're about to do a bicep curl and you're like, oh, what did I do last time? You'll be able to click on that bicep curl and you'll see a history of every time you've done a bicep curl, which is really cool because some workouts you might do a bicep curl for rep ranges of like 5 to 10 and others might be rep ranges of 20 to 30. So you can review all the times you've done a bicep curl and then make a good decision about what weight you'd like to use or what reps you'd like to use in that phase of your challenge. So a really cool feature to have added to the M Challenge app, and that will be coming with M6. So the next challenge will be featuring that there, which is really cool.
Yeah, definitely. It all sounds so exciting, but also like it's small stuff, but it's actually the stuff that's really going to make that difference. Just those little tweaks, and it's going to just take it to the next level.
Now, along with that, of course, we have updated nutrition plans, updated meal plans. So the meals will look slightly different to the July challenge and updated training plans as well. So there's some small tweaks in the training plans as well. So it's not just copy and paste. It's not that if you've done this challenge, you sign up to the next challenge and you basically got the same challenge. No. We're the M Challenge. We are a living, growing thing, and we're constantly improving and updating and bringing you new content. So come join us for the new October M6 M Challenge kicking off on the 24th of October.
So exciting. Ooh. And I just have to add one thing, which is it's just going to be the best thing ever.
It is. It will be and consistently be.
Yeah, the end.
The end. Nick, let's move on to our next segment here. We've basically turned this podcast into a big pitch for the M6, but let's go into some sweet content. First, I want to go through the community highlights, where we'd like to highlight some members of the community. So Nick, take us away. Who would you like to highlight this week?
All right. So I've got Amy Marie, and she says for her Throwback Thursday, she says April 27th to September the 20th, 4 months and 3 weeks between photos, week 11 of the challenge. It's definitely been my hardest challenge to date. It hasn't been perfect with a baby and a toddler, up 2 feeds a night, postpartum surgery, prolapse, cortisone injections for I'm probably pronouncing this wrong, but Dequervain tendinitis.
Dequervins. Yeah. It's of the thumb. Okay. It's a tendinitis of the thumb or tendinopathy of the thumb.
There you go, Dequervain. But I'm still here and never gave up. Finally cracked the 70 kilos and I'm back in the 60s. 16.9 kilos down. Let's call it 17 between photos, and a 3.9 kilo baby born who now weighs a huge 8.6 kilos. So there's a few kilos going on there. Good arm workout carrying around. Just over 1 week to go. Go, Amy.
Wow.
That's insane.
That's incredible. Gosh, especially having a toddler and a newborn. Whew.
Yeah, that's going to be you.
Yeah,
you're not far off that, Coach Steve. So
that's going to be me. Yeah.
Amy Marie is actually your hashtag goals because she knows how to do this. The 2-kid thing. I mean, mine are still around, so I know too, but like, I don't know. Sometimes
are you still carrying them in your arms, Nick?
Oh gosh, you know what? I might be going to that stage soon because they'll be going out. I'm scared. That's the only reason I wanted the lockdown to continue through their teenage years. Anyway, next. All right. So we've got Benjamin. So he says, my first Throwback Thursday, celebrating the journey from my first ever Max's Challenge, age 31, to my first ever M Challenge at a youthful 40. So that's an old schooler. Ben's old school. Good things happen when you give yourself the time and the chance to change for the better. It's tough at times, but it's worth it. And hopefully all of you are experiencing that as we hit the final days, where you are being rewarded visually for everything you put in physically and mentally. That's pretty cool.
Very cool. Very cool, Ben. One of our M Challenge ambassadors. So he's definitely walking the walk. He talks the talk. So he's got 9 years, almost 10 years of challenge history and experience for him. And it looks absolutely amazing. So keep going, Ben. This is great.
He has awesome meal ideas if you're ever stuck. He's very good with his meal ideas. He's far more creative than either you, like myself, or yourself, Coach Steve.
Yeah, definitely.
I would say nothing wrong with us, but we're just not super creative when it comes to meals. Okay, because I know every Monday night you have spaghetti bolognese. I just know that. And I bring salmon to the office every time. So anyway, the next one we've got is Sal Lawrence. So Sal actually competed on the weekend, I believe, and did quite well. As in, I think probably the best that you can do, which is winning. So quite well is probably an understatement. But like, I would just have to say congratulations to Sal for going through the process. We know how hard that is, and working full time as a PT as well, and doing everything. So good on you, Sal. And Sal is also very inspiring to other people. So Sal has this to say: "Morning, Fit Fam. Remember how far you have come and where you are today. Little steps in the right direction each day make big changes. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to to compete in a bodybuilding competition. I made the choice to rebuild my body after an accident that left me unable to walk unassisted for 18 months. That's amazing. Then finding out it was the wrong diagnosis, which meant I had to have surgery, another setback. And after that rehab, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor, another setback. They say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Well, I say regardless of your situation, make the choice every day to overcome the obstacles that are put in front of you and be grateful for the opportunity to have a new day and live your best life. Much love and God bless. Throwback Thursday." So that's pretty crazy. And then, we actually have the update on that, which is that he won. So that's a pretty cool story.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. And I actually spoke to Sal a couple of years ago in the challenge podcast when Sal won the challenge, and this was 2020 maybe. So if you'd like to listen to Sal's story where we divulge a lot more into that, you can check that out here on the challenge podcast. You might need to search just Sal's name or just swipe down and maybe have to scroll for a little bit to find that podcast again.
Yeah, I think he won the first one I was involved in. So that might have even been last year, because I remember he was, but anyway, so good. Well done, Sal. And
so good.
The journey, I just love that.
Yeah, an amazing journey. Nick, I'd like to highlight a couple of challenges this week too. The first one here goes out to Adam Tobin, and Adam writes, "My daughter," in quotation marks, says, "Wow, Dad, you have a six-pack." Motivation right there. Oh, gosh, love that. He also writes, "Last week, guys, what a fabulous job we have done. Change is a funny thing. It is hard and requires an open mind and persistence. I read a lot of negativity towards this challenge with a new app, a change. I'm old school and I did love the other format, but this has been great. Well done to the coaches and the developers. I love the app now and reckon it will continue to grow. Great work, everyone, and pumped to see the new you." And firstly, thanks, Adam. Thanks for enjoying the M Challenge app. We did get a range of feedback, both good and constructive, I would say, about the M Challenge app, which is fine. Change is challenging for everybody, for us and challenges and such. But, it's all about working every day to improve that change and that transition into the new, like we have with the M Challenge app, and like we have in our own fitness journeys. And Adam is representing that, where his daughter goes, "Dad, you have a six-pack. How amazing. Best motivation out there." So big congratulations to Adam.
Yeah, so good, Adam. And I really love the way that you put it. And I just also think it's funny because the app is is a catalyst. It's something that helps us with our change, but it's not going to change for us. So it's just our way of delivering information for you, and you can take from it what you will.
Yeah, well said. Nick, next one here, I want to highlight Emma Ferrari and Emma writes.
What a cool name, by the way.
Just amazing. I just hope that she's in a Ferrari right now.
I know, right?
Emma writes, 9 months of training, 2 challenges, almost still got 1 week to go, and 10 kilos less later, and I've made my 40th milestone. She posted a photo of herself at her 40th birthday, and she writes, I feel fit and fabulous. Still got a few more challenges to get to my goal, but I'm very happy with the results and my efforts. One friend commented on how awesome my legs were, of which I replied that I'd been working very hard on them. Amazing, Emma. I love that. Happy 40th to you. And, 9 months of training, gosh, and you're getting results already 10 kilos lighter. What can you do over the next 9 months? And we hope that fitness becomes a priority for you over the next 9 years and for the rest of your life. So go, Emma. Woo.
Yeah, and I love that the fact that she also replied, yes, I've been working very hard, because sometimes we tend to downplay what we do, and people say, oh, you look awesome, and you just go, oh yeah, thanks. But actually just to acknowledge that and say, yeah, I've been working hard. That's what more people should do, because then people would realize that it doesn't just come without effort.
Yeah. Last one here goes to Christy Carey. And Christy writes, I started my first challenge a few years ago. Due to unforeseen circumstances, I was unable to finish it. This year, with my amazing husband's support, he's also doing it, I signed up to the challenge again. Even though the challenge finishes in a few weeks, for me, the journey has only just begun. The more changes I see, the more determined I am. And I love this one because it really encapsulates what we are trying to teach as coaches in the M Challenge, where, the challenge itself is, yes, a competition. Yes, it's a short stint. It's 12 weeks. It's 6 weeks. It's a very small glimpse of the fitness journey. And Chrissy's really highlighting here where, this 12 weeks might be the catalyst, the beginning of it all, where, you make fitness a part of your life. And, maybe the challenge is a vessel for that fitness journey, or maybe you take what you've learned from the challenge and you go on from there. So congratulations to Christy.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. That's exactly what we want to see. And I love also where she says she's got her support of her husband, because it helps when people are on board. It does make a really big difference. And you know what, I'll just say about support, it doesn't have to actually actively be like cheering you on, but sometimes support can even just be not commenting negatively. So don't always think that you need a cheer squad, but it's good when people just leave you be in peace. That's support.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, talking about support, I find at the moment, I don't need like a cheer squad. I just need like environmental support, right? Like, I just need some help with asking my partner to look after my boy while I go train, or to look after the house while I'm out doing things or whatever. So it's like using environmental support. So I don't need someone being my cheerleader going, woo, go Steve, or someone being, anti-negative to me, like not being negative to me. I just need someone who can support this lifestyle, and I have that in my partner. So thank you to her. Go Laura.
Laura.
Maybe that's what you need. So maybe you don't need a cheer squad or anything like that. Maybe you just need some environmental support to be your support team, like Coach Nick probably needs when she's doing her Ironmans. And Nick, you've got an Ironman coming up, don't you?
Correct.
Yeah.
That's the Melbourne Ironman is coming. So strange that's a good segue.
Yeah.
So I entered that ages ago accidentally.
And gosh.
Then all the lockdowns happened, and then it went away. And now it's coming back, and I reckon it's going to be really cool, because Melbourne hasn't seen anything like that since the 2015 one.
Wow.
So yeah, it's going to be really cool. I'm going to dust off the bike and have a crack at that, so people can come down and cheer for that one.
Yeah. No. Well, when we get closer to that, we'll talk more about it, and we'll get some challenges out there for you. It'll be good.
Let's do it.
Nick, let's move on to our next segment here. We have the Coach's Corner, where we offer our tip for the week. So Nick, take us away. What advice do you have for us?
So mine's a bit of a fun one today. There was a request on the Facebook group just to chat a bit about podcasts, and I've also included YouTube as a thing because I actually am a little bit addicted to YouTube at the moment. So there are, you know, quite a few different channels that you can watch for different purposes. So I've kind of split it up into entertainment and then I guess sort of motivation or inspiration is another one. Then there's information. So there's different ones that I like to listen to. So I'm just going to run through them just in case. And also somebody also said, does anybody know of like a 40 plus woman who has teenage kids that might be able to chat about like fitness and inspo? And I'm like, oh, that's kind of me. I don't know if because I was actually just going to say, I don't mention like hardships and family stuff too much, you know, in terms of organizing myself with teenagers and stuff. But if anyone ever would like me to elaborate, I'm happy to do like a little bit of a segment on that sort of stuff if people are interested. So let me know, because I do know that sort of stuff. But yeah, so I'll just run through what I love to listen to. So different podcasts that I listen to are my favorite one is one called The Diary of a CEO, because this guy will interview people that are quite inspiring. They might not necessarily be leaders in a company, but it might just be people who have been successful. But he won't interview them necessarily just about their success. He'll interview them about their insecurities, ways that they've overcome different setbacks and stuff like that. So that's really, really cool. Another one is called The Mindset Mentor. So, you know, it's got topics such as how long does it take to become successful? Just things like that that can kind of give you little tips and tricks about success. And I think there's a little bit of a theme here for me. I also love listening to fitness podcasts like you wouldn't believe. I love listening to anything to do with natural bodybuilding. There's a new one out called the Prep Coach podcast, which I really like. And there's also one that isn't necessarily natural, but this one's the Bikini and the Brain, which is kind of cool because they talk a little bit about different exercise protocols and things that, you know, how I bang on about cardio and not using it all at once. And they talk a little bit about that as well. There's another one called The School of Greatness. I've got so many podcasts, Coach Steve, because I drive a lot. School of Greatness, that's a really good one. And one of the recent ones that I listened to from that one was called Why the Law of Attraction Isn't Working for You. So that's a very interesting thing because we're always told to manifest stuff. So just thinking outside the box a little bit. And then I like 3D Muscle Journey, 3DMJ. I think you probably like that one too, don't you?
Yeah, I do like Eric Helms and the team.
Yeah, love. So that's really interesting just for some perspective from people that are much more intelligent than me, and I love to hear what's going on there. And then we have got Strength Culture, which I really like as well. So hopefully you can find any of these on Spotify. I also like to listen to Hattie Boydle's podcast, but she's only done a few, but she's quite good because she has a very holistic view of fitness. She really believes that it starts in the mind, which I also, as I get older, kind of can see that as well, especially because you get a little bit more tired as you get older. So you've got to figure out ways other than just being motivated by your own body to get out of bed. And so with podcasts, I like to listen to things that I think the theme is probably mostly with the podcasts, educational / motivational ones. So often when I'm going into the gym, I'll even listen to a crazy little bit of David Goggins or something, you know, just going, right, well, nobody achieved anything without doing something, you know, big, or that sort of stuff. That still even can kind of jolt me into just getting on with it. I don't need much, but just a little thing like that is really good. Because of you, I've sort of looked into Renaissance periodization a little bit on YouTube. I like to watch that. I like to, that's because of you, Coach Steve. Because
good old Mike Israetel.
Dr. Mike Israetel is really cool. So I really, really like him. And then just silly ones that I like, and everyone's just going to laugh at me. It's only because I'm really hungry at the moment, but I love watching either two things on YouTube. One is calorie challenges. And that's just terrible. But you know what? Like if you're hungry and you watch somebody eat like calories, like a silly 10,000 calorie challenge or whatever, it's actually a really good way to not be hungry anymore and feel like you've eaten something. So that's really cool. And then I also like watching just various things about fashion and stuff like that as well. So YouTube is look, I think personally, I think YouTube's amazing. I think that there is so much fitness content on there as well that it can actually almost be overwhelming. But if you have a look at the key players like Jeff Nippard and his wife, well, she's Dr. Stephanie Buttermore. She's somebody who's a person, a really awesome person in herself, but they make so much content that you can have a look at, especially around say Stephanie Buttermore is about women and eating and all the questions that you've ever wondered about all sorts of different foods, but also because she's a scientist, we can really understand that she's actually researched this stuff, and it's not just anecdotal stuff. It's actually stuff that's got a bit of solid grounding, because sometimes you can go down a bit of a rabbit hole where people are just speaking crap. But there are a few different things that I love to listen to. How about you?
Well, in terms of podcasts, I find I'm doing a lot of time right now to listen to podcasts. I do enjoy things like the Stronger by Science podcast, like 3DMJ. Like I like the Iron Cult podcast, Eric Helms and Omar Oslov. They're a good laugh. Also the RP podcast always really good. I think I just like the mixture of like charisma, like dry humor, maybe some dark humor thrown in there, plus a little bit of like evidence-based content where these individuals are the actual researchers talking about the research they completed. You can go read their papers if you wanted to and stuff. So which is really really cool for me. So I like podcasts like that. In terms of YouTube, of course, I do like the RP Renaissance Periodization channel on YouTube. Of course, Jeff Nippard's always really great. But I think on YouTube, I do watch a bit of YouTube. It's more just like leisurely time. I enjoy watching. I'm a bit of a Marvel stan, right? I do enjoy a lot of the Marvel content, so I'll watch those videos about like all the Easter eggs in the latest Marvel movie and stuff like that. I'm that type of guy.
Oh,
right?
you're like Lucia. Yeah. My daughter Lucia is obsessed with Marvel and does all that sort of stuff. So she'll spend a lot of time.
So like if I'm not watching like fitness stuff or anything like that, I'll be like looking at those types of things, or like theories and fan theories and that type of stuff. Yeah, some bit of a dork for that type of thing. But I think you're right, there's a lot of content out there, a lot of content where you can fall down lots of rabbit holes, and you can be find a false prophet sometimes in fitness, where you follow an individual and you follow them for long enough and they lead you astray. So all I'm saying is just be a word of warning that you don't go into guru worshipping, where you follow one person, let it be myself or Coach Nick or someone else or anyone else that you enjoy. Be careful you don't follow just one person, because one individual, we don't have all the answers, all the ideas, but when you get a breadth of individuals that you follow, you can start to develop some critical thinking, especially if one person views it this way, another person views it this way, and you even listen to them have a debate with each other. It's really interesting to challenge your own beliefs around fitness and training and success and mindset and all the other good pieces out there. So just a word of a warning if you are holding people's words to gospel.
Yeah, definitely. Grain of salt. And anybody can put anything on YouTube, so it's not really necessarily verified or anything, so there's that. But that's the same as the internet. You could Google, if you felt like having a glass of red wine, you could Google, is red wine good for me, and it would come up. It's great for you, but like if you Googled, if you were like, oh, I want to quit red wine, you could Google, is red wine bad for me? And there'd be just as many things. So you can totally find the answer that you want, no matter what you're looking for.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, that's where it comes into a little bit of like that research critical thinking area, which we've both had a bit of training in with our master's degrees, where you can start to do a little bit of mini meta analysis, being like, okay, this has this has this is weighted more, blah blah blah, and then come up with an outcome there. But you're right. Yeah, there's often misleading information.
And yeah, if you're just starting out in fitness as well, it's so exciting to see all the different things that are out there. Oh, and I just want to say one more thing that I like to watch, because I was just looking at my YouTube watch later. It's such a random thing, but it's my favorite thing. I like watching things like, I try running 100-mile ultra marathon with no training. So I love those videos because I'll pop them on while I'm doing my cardio, and I'll think, well, if they can do that, I can do whatever I'm doing. Yeah. And there's someone struggling in the middle of the night and they can't move. And it's like, why are you doing that to yourself? You could just train. But yeah, so yeah. So have a look, everybody, and let me know what you think.
Yeah, no, so good. Nick, I would like to talk about pacing. Ooh, pacing. So no, we're not talking about like Dory just keeps swimming, running pace, that type of idea. No. We're talking about being a lion and pacing back and forth. Like you're pacing your prey, or you're pacing, guarding your den, right? We're talking about pacing. Okay. Now this kind of idea, I first saw it with my boy. Okay. We set up his little nursery bedroom, and it's a little bit of a jungle theme. So we've got lions and giraffes and elephants and all that stuff in his little room. And I was looking at the lion, and I was thinking about pacing, right? And I was thinking about how it's what I do in the gym, right? It's what I do in the gym. I pace, okay? And I know, Nick, you do the same thing in your gym, because you mentioned that as well, right? Where sometimes when I'm training or trying to train, I get distracted. Okay, I get distracted, and when I'm distracted, I lose my enthusiasm, I lose my focus, and distractions could be on purpose or not on purpose. So sometimes, I would do a set, I sit down, I punch in what numbers I just lifted, and then, I open up Instagram or Reddit, or maybe I, open up, work-related things, or open up the forum and I'm reading the forum and answering questions, all that. So I get distracted, right? I'm somewhere else. Or maybe I'm a bit tired because, my boy's teething or something like that. So, I'm sit down, I look at the wall, and I'm just distracted, right? Or when I'm training by myself, I'm just not really that super motivated sometimes. So distraction can set in. And when that distraction sets in, you can, lose focus, motivation, and, time can drift away from you, okay? So a way to combat this lack of focus, lack of motivation, lack of enthusiasm that can sometimes creep into training is to avoid sitting down while you're training. Okay, avoid sitting down while you're training. So if you are at home and you've got a really comfy chair, maybe you've got you've got a home gym set up, and you've got your garage gym, and you've got a really comfy chair, maybe turn that chair around so it faces the wall, so you're not tempted to sit down on that chair, right? Because when you sit down, that is at a higher risk of distraction or loss of focus or loss of motivation. You might find that you're sitting down for longer and longer periods of time between sets, right? When you talk a lot about rest is important in between sets, but if you're sitting down for 10 minutes and you're like, oh geez, I've got to get up and do another set. Okay, you're not super focused in what you're doing right now. So a way to combat that is to pace, is to pretend you're a lion, is to pace. Once you've done the set, you can walk back and forth, like, get hype, be like you're in a beast, right? And build yourself up, and you could pace. You could pace the barbell, you could pace the dumbbell, you can pace the weights machine in the gym. I do it without thinking. I might doing a set of machine chest press. Once I'm done with that machine, I punch my numbers into my phone. I toss my phone back into my gym bag, and maybe hands on the hips, and I'm kind of pacing the machine like, all right, I'm ready for another set. I'm getting ready. I'm staying focused while I'm training. Okay, so talking about this focus, why should you be pacing? Why should you not be sitting down? Well, think about pacing. We are kind of maintaining that blood flow, right? So we're not 100% resting, but we're maybe 90% resting, right? We're just maybe taking a few steps back and forth, but we're keeping that blood flow going. We're avoiding that lactic acid type of build up, or like that fatigue that can kind of come on when we're stagnant. So, we're keeping everything going. We're keeping hype, right? We're keeping warm, which is important because we're kind of like, walking back and forth. physically keeping warm, because like sometimes I'm training in my garage, it's cold, I've got hoodies and tracksuits on, right? And if I sit down for too long, like, gosh, my toes are cold. So I need to kind of pace a little bit, right? We're improving our preparedness for training, our readiness for training, and ultimately just keeping ourselves motivated. I find that when I'm pacing, I look like I'm still training. It looks like I'm doing something with intent, versus when I'm sitting down, I can imagine that I look like I'm just kicking it, I've just got that vibe, Nick. I'm just kicking it back. So I find when I do sit down on machines or benches in the gym, that's often when, I might start talking to other people start talking to me and things like that, right? So if you are kind of in the zone, you're pacing, you look like you're busy, less people are likely to interrupt you and you're less likely to interrupt other people, which can just help you to stay focused. So just a very quick tip from me is that if you're finding that you are losing focus in the gym, maybe you've got the motivation to get to the gym, but when you're actually doing the thing, you're not enthusiastic about it. You're off in fairyland. You're listening to that monkey brain, or you're in dreamland world. Try pacing. Spend less time sitting down while you're training, and get your steps up, which is a nice one. But the word of caution is don't consider pacing as you're doing exercise. It's like your cardio in between the sets. It's just like all right, I'm staying in the zone. So it's a little bit of this kind of active rest, if you want to give it a name. But think about yourself as a lion, be a beast, and pace while you're in the gym.
I love it. I when I finish my sets, I sort of sometimes feel like I have to escape and just like run away from the terrible thing that's made me feel so much pain. And so I naturally don't sit down. I think it's probably also because sometimes I think I'll never get back up if I'm sounding old, but it's the truth. Good one.
No, so good. Nick, let's move into our final segment here. We've got our Q&A segment, question and answer. Nick, first one comes from Tammy, and Tammy writes, I've got a question to ask. Has anyone on here, and she was posting in our Facebook social hub, not taken any supplements? And how did you go throughout the challenge? Did you get any results? Is what she writes. I didn't take any this morning as I needed to settle my stomach, and I had some orange juice before my workout instead today, and drank water throughout. So she's implying maybe she didn't take any pre-workout or anything like that. She had orange juice instead. She goes, what are some of your go-to no supplements for your workout and during your workout? So Nick, Tammy, I think she's trying to ask, she's not taking supplements because it's affecting her stomach. What advice would you give to her to have before your workout or during your workout instead?
Yeah. So firstly, you can certainly, even though we are a supplement company, because the reason that a lot of people use them is because we've got quite a few sophisticated and advanced trainees in our challenge. So they're at the point where they do need to go to the pointy end to get those supplements, the things that will supplement your diet, supplement what you're already doing, and use them just to get that little bit of an extra edge. But that is also assuming that you've got all the adherence correct and all the other things in that hierarchy of nutrition, which will come first before you think about supplements. So, it's okay to not take supplements. And also it's important to get other things in place before you take your supplements. But caffeine, I mean, look, obviously that's not necessarily great for if you've got a sore tummy, but caffeine's nature's, nectar, nature's nectar. So don't forget that there's that. But really, I think it's just important to have a fast acting carbohydrate. So for me, I mean, another nature's nectar, which is fantastic because of also the potassium is a banana. I just go back to simple. I actually think orange juice is not a bad one. That's a quick, tasty, easily accessible to the body carbohydrate. Nice one. I also personally, I love a sugar-free Gatorade as well. I mean, I don't know if would that be under a supplement, I suppose, because it has got electrolytes in it and things. But yeah, you just want to make sure primarily that you are hydrated and that you are fed. So those two things are going to enhance your performance. Now, hydration can just be simple water. You can flavor your water. You can have that Gatorade. It can be sugar-free or not sugar-free, because if you want to have your carbohydrates from your Gatorade, you might want to have a sugary Gatorade before you start training. Up to you. But there are plenty of different things that you can do instead of having, say, a pre-workout if it doesn't agree with you on that particular day.
Yeah, no, good answer. I think, when individuals come and talk about supplements, it's really like how do you define supplements is the main crux of it, right? Where, of course, we work for a supplement company. We are a sports supplement company, right? But then, from that, how do you define what is and what isn't a supplement? Like you suggested, something like Gatorade, it has, sports enhancing things inside the Gatorade, such as electrolytes, right? And even Gatorade that has the sugar in it, like the sugar is probably the better component of it, because especially if you're having a Gatorade while you're training, you want that carbohydrate while you're training. So is that a supplement? Because you don't have to sit there and eat some fruit. You get to drink, a broken down carbohydrate, which is easy to digest and consume, and then use that for performance. So is Gatorade a supplement? If you took Gatorade and had like a powdered Gatorade that you mixed yourself, is that a supplement? Caffeine, nature's nectar, like you said, is that a supplement? It's technically a drug, right? Because it affects our body. So if you had a coffee, is that a supplement? If you had a no dose, is that a supplement? So the question is, of course, like, when you say like, oh, I'm not going to take any supplements, I'm going to abstain from supplements, I'm going to reject supplements. It's like, well, where's the line for you? And that is very different to different people. Like, let's say protein. Most people say, yeah, that's a supplement, but it's just dehydrated milk in the
That's right.
sense. So you go, well, is that a supplement? It's just a milk product, right? Versus like a pre-workout, okay, it has caffeine and other things like beta-alanine, citrulline malate, all these things. A lot of those products are derivatives of amino acids and all these other stuff that come from it. Many of those things are, created in a lab because they're hard to find out in nature and those types of things. Okay, maybe that is on the realm of supplements. So it's tricky. It's very tricky, right? I think you, of course, can achieve some great results without any sort of quote supplement, whatever definition that means to you. However, what I have said in the past is a little analogy, like, let's say a house. I'm in a house, you're in a house, Nick. If you wanted to build a house, you could build a house, right? You could build a house with a hammer and a handsaw, right? It's going to take a little bit of know-how, a little bit of effort, a little bit of work. You need to probably build a house before. You probably need some experience and some information about how to do that. And it's going to take a long time, right? Or you could use power tools, right? You could use, a nail gun, an electric saw, and a drill, and use power tools to make it easier for you. And you may be able to build a house with limited, information, knowledge, limited effort, because, power tools can help you, right? And it's a similar idea with supplements. You could get an amazing result without any help from supplements. That's like using a hammer and a saw. Or you can utilize supplements, using that as power tools, get some really great results with limited effort, limited information, limited experience, and just basically using it as help. Okay, so supplements, hard to define, I would say, and it's something that we can lean on to help us in a body transformation.
Definitely, good one.
Nick, next question here comes from Jess, and Jess writes, does it matter when you eat your calories? Okay. It doesn't matter when you eat calories, or another way to say it doesn't matter when you eat your meals. Okay. Big question. So in the sense of body transformation, right? In the sense of transforming your body, losing weight, gaining muscle, first thing is it doesn't matter too much. It's one of those variables that are much lower down the list, because it's mainly looking at your net caloric intake over like a broad period, over the day or the week or the month. Yeah. Because you can't define like a day as being like from midnight to midnight, this is how many calories you consume, because, you could get a picture from another portion of the day, let's say from like midday to midday, how many calories did you consume there versus midnight to midnight, it can be different numbers. So it doesn't necessarily matter about your caloric intake in terms of like hour by hour or, morning versus evening, that type of thing. We're looking at the net intake, not only on the day, but on the week, as a whole of our caloric intake. That's for body transformation. Now for performance, for health, it might be a different question, because when we're looking at nutrition provided to us, the delivery of nutrition to our body, if you concentrated all of your food intake to one portion of the day, like if you had like one meal a day, which is a one OMAD or something like that, one meal a day. If you have one meal a day, that is a lot of nutrition at one time. You might not be able to digest that all at once. So then on the other side of your day, you don't have any sort of delivery of nutrients and nutrition. That could affect performance. That could affect, muscle growth to an extent. That could affect your health slightly because you may not be having those vitamins and minerals and nutrients delivered to you, right? If you had lots of small bouts of meals or calories prescribed throughout the whole day, like let's say you had 20 meals a day, or eating every hour almost, and you slept for 4 hours, I don't know who you are, you're having such small delivery of nutrients that it might not be enough to kind of reach a threshold for health or performance, right? There is some interesting literature around using meals to reset circadian rhythms. So if you are like a shift worker or traveling, like, you're experiencing jet lag and those types of things, you can manipulate like fasting windows and use food to help to reset like an internal body clock. So that's one mechanism you could use to manipulate your meal distribution or your caloric distribution. And there is some other literature that suggests that biasing most of your calories or your meals at the start of the day can be beneficial for adherence to a meal plan and to manage hunger, okay? Which, if you try to rationalize it, if you bias most of your meals in the morning, like let's say you had 2 meals in the morning, 1 meal in the evening, you get most of your food at the start of the day, and you get your tail end, and then you have your meal at night, and then you go to bed, right? Versus the other side, if you have like 1 meal in the morning, you're kind of like restricting yourself throughout the day. Once you get to the evening, you're having your 2 meals, right? The bulk of your nutrients. You may have a tendency to overeat or overconsume because you've just been hungry all day. Right. So that could be one rationalism for that. But I would say that it is a case by case individual thing. Like, you may benefit from biasing your meals in the morning or your evening, or just following a very basic and simple meal distribution of like a breakfast, lunch, and dinner with a snack or two in between those meals. So the ultimate thing is that it doesn't matter too much for body composition changes. However, it is a little bit important when it comes to performance and for overall health. And you probably benefit from spreading those meals out or spreading your calories out in a reasonable sense. Anywhere between 4 to 7 meals a day would be appropriate. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner, maybe a snack thrown in there for 4 meals. Kind of how we design the challenge. And up to 7, I think more than 7 meals a day, you would be finding adherence problems because you're just going to be eating all the time, right? Which is problematic. Yeah. Every hour or two, you'd be like having a meal. Okay, you're constantly eating. You can't get things done. But yeah, good question. And you could learn more about this in the Understanding Nutrition mini-series, where we talk about nutrition timing or distribution of meals.
I love that, the mini-series. That's like it could be on Netflix.
Well, Netflix, you want to buy my mini-series, we can chat.
Yeah. Absolutely, that would be so good.
Nick.
Yeah.
Next question here comes from Trisha. Trisha writes, has anyone had a series of challenges where you just didn't make any progress? I can't seem to find the right plan to make progress. Any advice is appreciated. Nick, what advice would you give Trisha, who is struggling to see some progress?
Hi, Trisha. So it's good that you reached out, and it's good that you shared that. Just to let you know, so we're just going to unpack it a little bit now. The definition of progress, I actually know because I've spoken to Trisha, but is weight loss in this particular context. But it could also apply to if you're trying to get stronger. There are people that sometimes go to the gym and can never get past a certain weight, that they just can't seem to progress in that way. So progress is all sorts of things in the challenge. It's not just about weight loss, which is why it's so exciting to work in the challenge, because weight loss is it's a limited thing, So anyway, with Trisha, the fact is she's looking for the right plan, and any plan can be the right plan if you have everything in place that is working for you. So it's not really the plan. It's more about how you execute the plan. And that's putting it back onto the person. But it's really important to look at a few factors. So firstly, you've got to make sure that you are adhering to the plan. And when we say, like, if you say, yes, I follow it, I do most things, but on weekends, I let myself go a bit crazy. So if you've ever seen a chart where you see a certain amount of calories per week, and then you see it spike up on the weekend that are consumed, and then it actually ends up being that you end up at maintenance, because your body's very, very crafty. It wants to keep you where you are. So you may do really well during the week, and then you might go, I'm having a few glasses of wine, I'm going to, my inhibitions have gone, so I'm going to have another couple of snacks and things like that. And suddenly, with all your effort, you've ended up back at maintenance. So that could be something that I think could be happening. It's also to do with Trisha's got a bit of a stressful job as well. So there's different factors that you need to have a look at the very base level before you decide that the plan isn't right. Because the first thing that people tend to do is blame the plan and go from plan to plan, or coach to coach, or, that kind of thing. And it's actually, it comes back to you having a look at every single area. So audit what is going on. Are you training hard enough? Most people would say no, because if you've ever had a go of training hard enough, you realize how much more there is in you. And that's another thing that you need to do to elicit change. We always rave on about nutrition, and it's very, very important. But you and I both agree, Coach Steve, don't we, that training and progressing in training, it doesn't always have to be the heaviest weights. We've spoken about this before, but it has to be some form of progress. That is just, well, probably not just, but it's as important really as nutrition, to be honest, like if you want to see those body composition changes. So there's a big audit to do before you swap plans. In fact, I would recommend stick with the plan and have a look at what's going on within that. Because if you change plans as well as everything else, then we don't even know what is what. So as a coach, it's very important for me to say to you, stay on that straight line, keep doing that plan, because that's one thing that we can go, that is something that we can measure, we can manage that. Also with Trisha, I know that her steps are she's very active at work. So we have spoken about this before, but she might have to do some more steps regarding, if she wants to lose weight, because her body's used to doing what it does every single day. The thing that I must say though is, then after we workshopped it, and then Trisha said, oh yeah, look, I will have a look at my calories and things. So there is always something that you can look at, always something that you can go and have a look at, examine it with a magnifying glass. And somebody else, I think it was Anita within the challenge, said, she finally, it tweaked to her that you can't out train a bad diet. So that's the thing. So there are always things that you can look at, and you can be doing so well in certain areas, and then you can go, hang on, that was the thing that was holding you back a little bit. Like for me, maybe eating 40 cookies a day wasn't so great for weight loss. So when I stopped doing that, it was like, oh, wait a minute, maybe not 40 but 4. Maybe they were the men's ones, I don't know. But, things like that, you can always change and examine. So examine and change what you need to. Don't change everything at once.
It's a good answer. Good answer, Nick. And I think you're right. It's all about auditing things one step at a time, because if you change absolutely everything, you don't know what's worked or didn't work. So it's about the small steps, and that's kind of like what the process is. Committing to a plan, making small tweaks to tailor it to you and your individual needs. And audit yourself along the way, being honest to yourself. You're not. If you're saying that your nutrition's 100%, you're not fooling anyone. If you saying that isn't going to improve your nutrition if your nutrition is not at an appropriate level. And same with training. If you're saying, oh yeah, I train really hard, okay, you might be saying that, or if you be honest with yourself, you might be like, oh, I could train harder, right? It's all about being honest with ourselves, not beating ourselves up for finding out those weaknesses, because we all have them, right? Where we all have those limitations. And, you're only really cheating yourself if you try to justify it that you are doing something where you're not, that type of thing.
Definitely.
Nick, final question here comes from Lisa. And Lisa writes, is there a deload training program and nutrition program to slowly increase our daily intake of calories back up to maintenance calories on a weight loss program to avoid gaining fat post the challenge. Okay, so Lisa might be asking, what do we do once the challenge is over? She's probably heard a little bit about deloads and heard a little bit about maybe reverse diets or diet strategies to bring yourself back to maintenance calories. Okay, so let's first talk about deload programs. Why would we do a deload? Well, if you've been training really intensely, really hard, you might be fatigued physically and also fatigued mentally from the hard training. All right, so you might need to just follow a training program that is less intense. Okay, so not less intense where you are, training in a tent and you're coming out of the tent, less intense, but we want to be following a program for some individuals that is, just a little bit less training. So if you have been, training really hard for a really long time, you're going in and, you're giving it your 100%, you may benefit from taking, a week off from training, where maybe a week off isn't fair to say. Maybe you are reducing your training volume. And for this case, we're going to say about 50%, maybe even down to a third. So a third to 50%, 30 to 50% of what you normally do to allow your body to recover. And what you may find is that by taking a little bit of time off, about a week or so, once you go back to training, you might find that your 100% now is much higher because you are rested, you're recovered, you've repaired any sort of small amounts of buildup of I'm going to use the word damage. It's not damage, but any sort of changes in the body that needs a little bit of repair, a little bit of time to recover from, come back to training, and we added a new 100%. So that's probably what a deload program is. Now, we don't have a formal deload program built into the M Challenge app yet. It's something that we would love to have in the M Challenge app. It's one of the features coming soon in 2023. But our advice would be to follow the training program that you are following right now and reduce the volume meaning the total sets, the total intensity, meaning how close you get to failure, or the weight on the bar or the repetitions, right? These types of variables. So if you're normally doing 10 sets of squats for 10 reps at 100 kilos, you could do 5 sets of squats for 10 reps at 100 kilos. You could do 5 reps of 100 kilos for 10 sets, or you could do 50 kilos for 10 reps for 10 sets, right? So we're reducing the volume by 50%, allowing ourselves to recover from that. So that's the first thing. The next one, talking about, like a reverse diet or some sort of, recovery diet or something like that, where we're slowly bringing ourselves back up to maintenance calories. The idea is that we are in an energy deficit. Our maintenance, for argument's sake, is 2,000 calories. We're currently having 1,500 calories. And we're unsure if the 2,000 calories is our maintenance. So if we jump straight back to maintenance, we don't know if that's going to lead to any weight gain or anything like that. And an idea is if we phasically increase our calories back to maintenance to try to reduce how much fat we would potentially gain. Now, there's really, really recent literature that is suggesting that we don't need to phasically increase our calories back to maintenance to limit fat gain, and we can just simply return to maintenance. So the easiest way to do something like this is, once we've completed the challenge, is to reset your nutrition. You can click that by the little gear button on the top right hand corner of your nutrition plan, input your current details, and click maintain. And what it will do is it will give you your predicted maintenance calories. We can follow those maintenance calories and we can monitor the effects it has on our body weight. So what we want is our body weight to change no more than plus or minus 0.5% of our body weight per week. Okay, so if I'm about 100 kilos, I'm going to be cruising at 100 kilos. I might be 100.5 kilos or maybe 99.5 kilos on any given week, but that would be maintenance, where I'm trying to maintain my body weight. And what we will do is select the maintenance calories and track our body weight changes. Our body weight might, increase very slightly, because as we kind of increase our calories, we might see an increase in glycogen stores or maybe fluid retention. Okay, that might be a very normal effect. But what we want is our body weight not to fluctuate too much. I'd say if it fluctuates 1 or 2%, that's okay. But we want to keep it pretty maintenance. Now, what I'd recommend is to track your body weight every day, measure the average body weight over the course of a week, and track your weekly changes compared to the average. Okay, so your average body weight per week tracking it week to week, and that's how we compare our maintenance calories. If you're losing weight too quickly or gaining weight too quickly, you might need to make some more small changes to your calories. But the same idea about maintenance calories or reverse diets is that we are giving our body, mind, spirit a bit of a break from dieting, a bit of a diet break, where if you've been dieting for a really long time, you might benefit from a week or 2 or 3 or a little bit more of not focusing on restricting your calories, eating to maintain your body weight. Then when you go back into an energy deficit, you might find, a newfound burst of energy, more adherence to a diet, which would kickstart your next weight loss phase.
Really good. Really good.
Nick, let's wrap it up there for the Challenge Weekly Show, episode number 84. 84, Nick, we are deep into retirement. We're on our way to the Centurion, the 100th episode. I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to celebrate for 100. 100.
Woo. If you enjoyed this episode, let us know, and we'll catch you next week for episode number 85.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. If you like the show, share it with a friend.
Or leave us a review on iTunes to spread the good word. See you next time.